1,000 miles on a track, not across a state, not through mountains, just in circles. There's a difference between running far and choosing something that sounds completely unnecessary. And whether you run or not, this kind of question shows up for everyone at some point. Why would someone choose something so hard? Why go past what's required, past what's reasonable, into something most people wouldn't even attempt? Because this isn't just a race. There's no finish line crowds, no course changing every few miles. It's just you, your thoughts, and the decision to keep going again and again and again. And what's interesting about guys like Mason, it's not random. There's planning behind it. There's intention, and there's something deeper driving it to go bigger every time. So today we're breaking down what it actually takes to put on something like this, the mindset, the logistics, and the moments where it almost all falls apart. Cue that intro music.
Who says you need to fly to reach the top? Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand, join the flock. It's okay to run scared, we enjoy the lie.
Welcome back to the Ostrich Running Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Miraz, and not with me today is Jarrett the Juice Horton, but I got somebody who I would say secretly is a little bit better than the Juice, but don't tell him I said that unless he listens to this episode, which he probably will, and then he'll know that I like this guy a little bit more than I do him. But who I have on the show today, you might have seen him on social media, TikTok, Instagram. I have Mason Wright with us, aka the Buff Runner. And if you've listened to this show before, you know he's been on here. And I only talk to him after he's doing something crazy or about to do something crazy. And guess what? Nothing has changed. Welcome to the show, Mason. We are super happy to have you back on board. How you been doing, man?
I am good and ready to run some more miles.
It looks like you have just a few more miles on the plate coming up.
Just a few.
Yeah. If you want to know a little bit more about Mason's background, his journey into running, how he's gotten here, the crazy miles he's done, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to listen to these old episodes. They're must listens. But tell our listeners what you got going on in 10 days, 7 days?
7 days. I will be actively running 7 days from today.
What are you going to be running, Mason?
I'm going to be running 1,000 miles around a track.
Let's just repeat that real quick. 1,000 miles around a track. Wow. How fun.
So much fun.
It's going to be crazy, man. I think the last time we had you on was before you did your 421 miles across the state of Utah and then post run. I mean, you know, you're always doing these crazy races. What don't you like about your mind?
That's why I do it. I love my mind.
You love being in that moment with yourself and I, right? Is always the best place to be. I love that. So you know what? Just before we go into a little bit more of this challenge that you have going on, who's Mason Wright right now outside of running? I know you've had a lot of big things happen this year. A gym opened up, but who's Mason outside of running right now?
Yeah, I am a dietitian and gym owner who runs. That's the whole gist of it.
A simple man.
Sitting in the gym. Yeah, I currently am sitting in my office in the gym that I own. I also, I have a nutrition private practice where I'm working with athletes on a regular basis. Yes, yep. I'm a gym owner. I'm a sports nutritionist. I'm a dietitian, and I have my private practice where I'm working with mainly endurance athletes, but I work with a whole bunch of people. I met with an older lady this morning. I work with all walks of life, but my primary focus is performance nutrition. And then obviously I own the gym that I'm currently sitting in right now. This is my office in said gym.
I was super stoked when I saw you take on the gym opening. I think it's just amazing. What's that been like? That's probably been kind of stressful in its own aspect, its own set of challenges. Has running kind of helped shape you as a now business owner, physical store business owner, in the way you run your gym?
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. It's, just like the whole mindset around like quitting and, persevering when things get difficult and all that stuff. It just makes it easier.
Yeah, I agree. There's days where like no progress has felt like it's being made. And I often compare it to my wife. She kind of laughs every time because I always bring it back to running. I'm like, I feel like I'm in mile 90 right now and I'm not getting any progress anywhere. But, each little step that you take is progress to a further goal. And I think running is taught me that, and I can see that it's taught you that, and it's just amazing how we can kind of take these challenges from the physical side to our professional lives. But when people hear the Buff Runner, who do you hope that they actually or what do you hope they actually understand about you when they hear the name Buff Runner?
Oh, that's a great question. That's never anything I've really thought about. I don't think that's something that that's never something that I've thought about.
Yeah.
I think I think it's less about me and more about everyone else. I think it comes down to already the words Buff Runner don't go together,
For sure.
And, I've never been someone that's fit into the mold. I've never been someone that's fit into really anything that I've done except maybe football. But, I think the whole thing is just be you. I think that's the whole thing, is just be you. Who cares about the standards? Who cares about, I do not fit the narrative, but I'm doing it.
Yeah. If you see you on the street, you don't think that guy is an ultra, distance runner for sure.
No, well, I get comments, people will come run with me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were this big. Cause I really I don't fit that. I don't fit that norm. And so I think that's the whole thing is I've never thought about it of what I hope people remember about me. I think it's more of just the whole, we all can be a buff runner. It's not like you legitimately have to be a buff runner, but everybody can be a buff runner. It's the mindset of being a buff runner that matters.
Yeah. Because when I look at you, I think the same, a person who doesn't fit the mold, but still has a seat at the table, right? You are out there, pushing people to dig deep what's inside them and push past those limits. And when you see somebody who isn't your normal starting line, audience, right? And you see that person going out there and still doing these hard things, it fires you up, because, even I don't consider myself a runner because I don't feel like I have that collegiate background, decades of running ultra distances or speed. I look at some of these elites, I'm like, man, I wish I could be so fast, right? But I'm out there trying to push my own, I'm racing against myself, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I get from you. Every time I see something on your social media, it's so inclusive to everybody out there. So when I see the Buff Runner, I think of community. I think of, all of us lifting each other up and also setting an example, right? You live what you preach, and that authenticity is so important, and you don't see it a lot nowadays. And I think it's just great. So hats off to you. Kudos to you. Can I ask you, do you remember when running actually became something more than just fitness for you? It was shaping who you were becoming later down the road?
Ooh.
I'm hitting you with all the good questions.
You are hitting me with all the good questions today. Yeah, I feel like every piece of it has its own unique, I feel like there isn't a moment. I could talk about waking up at 4 a.m. in high school to go to the gym before then going to my first class, which was football, which was the workout again, and then going to practice, whether it was track or football after school. So there was that aspect of it where I was shaping, myself to become a specific type of athlete. And then you have my early Spartan career when I first started running, losing almost 100 pounds, and that whole thing shaping me into this. And if we're talking, and I was going to say, if we're talking about running, I almost would point it at Spartan, but Spartan wasn't, COVID was the one that was the moment that pushed me into ultra running. But then I went back to Spartan in the middle of ultra running. So it's this, every
it's
piece of
evolving kind of piece, right? Yeah.
There are key moments in my life that have impacted the decisions that I've made, but there's no one defining moment. There's several.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's probably the beauty of not putting yourself in a box, right? So to speak, as being a runner, you open yourself up to growth in so many different, aspects of life, right? If you come out and say, I'm a runner, this is what I'm doing, then obviously you find that lane and you're only growing in that lane. But, not placing yourself within that box, you've allowed yourself to grow through everything that comes your way, whether it's starting a business, your nutrition planning, doing big challenges, like you've done several times over. So what's actually started you down this path of thinking bigger, right? What started that 420 mile run and now this 1,000 miles on a track? What shifted in you, that made you want to just keep going bigger or always think of these big projects?
It's so dumb, but it resonates with me so much. So I've never been able to put words to it until I watched Cars 3.
Yes.
Yes. So this week, let me real quick. Well, I'll come back to this question. This is my lineup for the rest of the week. I'm going to watch The Office with my wife tonight.
Yes.
And then I'm going to watch Cars 1 tomorrow. And then I skip Cars 2 because that movie is weird. I watch Cars 3. I watch Cars 3 the next day. I watch A Knight's Tale on Thursday, Friday night. And then I just watch ultra running videos. And then I'll watch my Run Utah documentary. I do this because there's very specific things about these movies that, like, A Knight's Tale is the underdog story.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
The coming from nothing and becoming something. And Cars is just epic, but there's a whole bunch of things in Cars that get they get passed on. Cars 3 is kind of the same thing. And then, like, I like to watch ultra running stuff, but I watch these things leading up to big events, because of just like the stories they tell. But Cars 3 in particular is, when he's trying to like refine himself and there's all the things going on. It was, she asks, like, how did you know you could do it? And he says, well, I just never thought I couldn't. And like, that's what resonates with me so much. There's never been something where I've been like, oh, I can't do that. Like, it's, I thought of the idea of running across America that then led to, running across the state of Utah. And there wasn't ever there are moments along the way where I question why I'm doing it. And I question my abilities in a certain ways because of how hard the training is. Yeah. But I don't actually ever question the fact that I'm not going to finish this. And, it's funny. I had two things. I was either going to do this or I was going to do the BPN last man standing. And whatever it was, if I got in a BPN, then that's what I was doing. And when I applied for the BPN race, I was like, I'm going to win, knowing I would be out there right now with it's Kendall and Mark now.
Yep.
I'd be out there with him right now. And I have no doubt in my mind that I would be suffering alongside them right now.
Yeah.
And that might be a toxic trait of mine, thinking that, I can do impossible things and fail at them. But that's, who cares if you fail?
You have to have that, right? You have to have this, I don't want to say like this trait to be oblivious to failure, right? But it almost helps, right? I mean, and I think getting that muscle. I'm
not oblivious to failure. I don't have a fear of failure.
There you go. Yep. That's the word.
I'm very aware of failure. I wouldn't be sitting in this chair without failing. The most successful people you'll ever meet have failed the most.
Yeah. And
so
you need to fail. You need to fail in order to learn. Like, failure is an option. They always say failure is not an option, but failure is part of it. It's like mandatory.
Quitting is not an option. People mix the words up. Quitting is not an option.
There you go. Yep.
But even then, sometimes we look at Kendall and Harvey. They both understood how unbelievably tired they were, and that one more lap could have, it could have seriously harmed them for how sleep deprived they were. And so, sometimes there's such thing as calculated risk. You do have to take those things into account, but for the most part, 99% of the time, quitting's not an option. Yeah.
Which is crazy because the industry you're in, right? You're giving people nutritional advice, one-on-one coaching. And I'm sure, some of the things that you put yourself through, you would not recommend for other people to do, right?
No.
So it's so funny to watch, that aspect. How do you kind of balance that, right? Understanding the risk from a medical standpoint and the knowledge base that you have, how do you justify where you push yourself even more?
I don't justify it. I don't bargain with myself. Like,
yeah,
I understand. I know what I'm doing. I know the harm that I know what I'm doing to my body. And I think that is a blessing and a curse in a way. But I think for my mindset, it's a blessing because I know what I'm doing to my body. I also know how to combat it. I understand you can't, I don't have that camera anymore. Earlier, you could maybe see here, I can do this. You see all those boxes there? That's just the beginning of food and supplements and everything that's going to be headed this way. Like I went to Trader Joe's and I got my scallion pancakes and the cashier stared at me like I was a psychopath because I bought 12 packs of these things. I filled up an entire cart of, and they were like, I bought all of them that they had on the shelf. And so like, they were like, what the, but like, I understand that I know how much I have to eat to not get rhabdo. I know how much I have to eat in order for this not to happen. I know how much I need to sleep so that I don't, my body doesn't deteriorate as quickly. I actually have a doctor who's going to be working with me through this run. I have a physical therapist. Excuse me. I have a physical therapist who's actually one of the owners of this gym right through that wall right there. He's on call. So like I also am taking calculated risks. And I know this is kind of like a side note onto this, but calculated risks are a part of this. Like I didn't just go start this gym because, like, oh, I can do this. Like don't quit, do hard things. Like I didn't just do it because like there was thought that went into this. There was an entire year of financial planning and business planning and making sure that everything made sense financially and logistically. Like there was this is a calculated risk. It's a big risk. It costs a lot of money to start this gym, but it's a calculated risk. And it's, kind of the same thing with all the running stuff. Like I'm taking calculated risks. I'm not just showing up and running 1,000 miles.
Yeah, I agree because, you've always been that person, even from when I first met you, right? You're planning, every intent that you have is pre-thought out, right? It sucks because people will watch your documentary, right? And they think, wow, this man just got up and he's like, oh, I'm running 421 miles across Utah. They don't see the training, the preparation, the amount of dollars that you had to spend to go get sponsors, to go get a van, to go get a crew. And now you're on this 1,000-mile track run and we don't see you getting a physical therapist, a doctor, and organizing all these things behind the scenes, right? We just see you starting a gym, but we don't see those late nights calculating numbers with your wife, I'm sure, going and figuring out what do I need to hit target wise, right? There's so much that goes involved in these huge feats. It's not a knock to them. I praise it and I cheer it on, I root it on, but it's also like kind of dangerous, when you go and you just say, oh, I'm doing this on my own, and somebody else goes and tries it and gets rhabdo or, gets seriously ill, right? It's dangerous when you're promoting these huge challenges and not let them know, hey, I'm a professional doing this. It's almost like Jackass, right? These stunts were performed by professional people, right? And at some point, it's like, you are that person, right? You are going through all of this stuff professionally. And it's not to be taken lightly, these challenges. Yeah.
And it's, and I think people do get confused with certain things, and we are seeing more and more people get hurt doing certain things. But I think you also can do it at the same time. But like, for instance, when I ran that 50 miler back in October, this story is ridiculous. So 3 weeks in advance, I signed up for a 50 miler. Okay. It's a 50 miler through Canyonlands National Park in southern Utah, and no training. I haven't trained for it at all. So I did a couple trail runs just to get the trails under my feet because, so much of my stuff had been roaded at that point. And I also, it was in the middle of me building my gym. So coming up, leading up to the run. So the run Saturday, starting on the previous Friday, I was hauling 100,000 pounds worth of equipment into here. And then I spent the whole week working from 5 a.m. to usually 10 or 11 p.m. every single day, building heavy equipment, lifting heavy weights. Like I'm building full blown like squat racks and Smith machines. And, I'm doing all this stuff. So I'm building all this equipment. I pack up my RV, drive down, sleep the night. Cause I literally like, that morning, I even came to the gym and built some stuff, then drove to Southern Utah, ran my race, 50 miles. Also, I got super sick. I was so sick. I couldn't breathe. I literally could not breathe out of my nose and could barely breathe it because my throat was so constricted and I was so congested and I had a fever and, I went out, I ran this 50-mile race, got top 20, sub 12 hours, and then drove home and the next week continued building stuff. Dumbest thing, super, very, very dumb of me to do something like that. However, and this is where it's like, you can have the spontaneity to do these insane things, but I also have a baseline.
There you go.
I can go rub because I've spent years and years and years of running. I can go, it's not exactly a calculated risk, but it's a risk that I'm very aware that I can safely take because I have a baseline that's higher because of my experience.
You understand what your body does when it's sick on a run. You understand what your body can do during 50 miles. You understand what your body can do during a full day's work. This also isn't overnight. I mean, you mentioned earlier in high school, you started waking up at 4 a.m. This baseline goes beyond your running journey. It goes like when you were a kid, taking on what you did, right? That baseline starts there, the mental, the physical followed. I mean, you are built, when they say someone's built different, that is you. You are built different. And that's not like, to say like, oh my gosh, yeah, this man's built different because he can do things that we can't, but he's built different because you've built yourself to be different, right? It's not just you were born this way, right? I mean, all of this stuff was intent. And I remember seeing you, building the gym out and doing that 50-mile run and still showing us when you were sick. I'm like, God dang it, Mason. you are my insane.
Jordan flu game, man. I had to have one.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump to this 1,000 miles on a track. You said your options were going to be last man standing or this. So you didn't get into the last man standing race. From the moment that you realized that you were going to do this, what does planning look like for this whole event? What is it? What do you have to do?
Out the gate, it was focusing on training. It was like getting the training as dialed as I could. I'm not one that like hyper fixates on optimized training and everything is on heart rate zones. And I think all that's complete BS, to be completely honest. And I prove it on a regular basis that, you don't have to have this ultra structured training plan to be successful. You have to have some structure, but it doesn't need to be this like hyper optimized BS. But, but this one was a little bit different because I did have to take into account like, okay, this isn't a circle, it's around a track. So I need to be training my body for that to run in a circle. And so that's what I basically did. I spent I've run 1,300, it's either 1,300 or 1,400 miles in this training block in about 5 months. And most of it has been on a track or a treadmill. I would say 90% of it has been on a track or a treadmill. And because I just have to build the mental. So that's like where this started is training. We've got to get this figured out to, I need to be, track, treadmill. I need to be building that mental the mental muscle of being able to kind of zone out and lock in, right? And that's, that is where, as much as I hate running on a treadmill, I also got a treadmill because one, I'm a dad who's busy, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's like, dude, I'm doing my runs on a treadmill because that is what it is, but I got to get miles in. But what I love about it is I can control sustained elevation gain if I need to, longer. I have an infinite mountain that I can climb if I'm training uphills, right? It's a great tool.
Yeah, it's so good. But then I noticed that, when I'm doing 2-3 hours on a treadmill, which is disgusting already to think about anyway, but, when you're there, that muscle of just zoning out and locking in and focusing finally gets worked out. And I pull from that in other races, other long runs where I can just hey, it is what it is. We're here, we're moving, and something about that is just a rep, right? What happens to your body running in one direction for many, many miles?
So I didn't actually notice anything at first. I actually didn't notice anything through my entire training block. It was my simulation run where I did a simulation run where I did 2 back-to-back. I did a 33-mile day and a 40-mile day back-to-back. I wanted to do 2 40s, but I ran out of time on the first day. I had like family stuff, and I just, this training has taken so much of my time. Like I can't just cancel on literally everyone all of the time. So I didn't have another, hour and a half that I needed to get in those 7 miles. So I did 33 that day, but halfway through the second day, I was like, oh, what? I was like, what is wrong with my leg? Like, why does it feel so funny? Like it was significantly more sore than the other leg. And I was like, it is because it took 50, 60 miles to get there. So I am going to be changing directions. My original plan was to go in one direction, but we're not doing that. I very quickly learned in my simulation that that's not going to happen. So, I'll be changing directions.
Rotate days, like one direction, one full day, or
so it's going to depend on it's going to depend on a couple of things. We're going to try and follow the world championship, an altered version of the 24-hour world championship, which is every 3 hours they change, but I'm going to go like every 4 to 6. I'm going to go like every 4 to 6. I think every 3 hours I actually think will affect my mental more negatively, than positively. So that like the physical effects of 2 more hours in one directions will be less than the mental effects, I think, of changing every 3 hours. I think having to keep track of that and like my crew having to keep track of that, I think is going to get, I think is going to be, And I also like, I've done the direction changes. It does kind of fuck with your head. And so if I'm doing that every 3 hours, I think it's going to mess with me. So we're going to do like every 4 to 6. So I'll do like 2 to 3 direction changes a day.
Nice. Yeah. And again, I noticed how you calculate it multiple days back to back. And again, this is what we talk about, right? Being a professional, and just going out to do it, right? You literally simulated your run to what it needed it to be to expose these problems, right? Which a lot of people, why we want to do long training runs for, certain distances that we want to do, because you want to see what your body's going to be like in that dark moment, right?
Yeah. I have my notes from I wrote these while I was running. I would like take notes of like, hey, like this is what's going on. Like we need to be doing this. We need to be doing this. Like this is happening and I haven't experienced this in training yet. Like, I was taking a bunch of notes.
So 1,300 miles in this training block, you said?
Something like that. I haven't sat down and recalculated it in the past month. It's like anywhere. Yeah. It's like 12 to 14. We're somewhere in that range.
So in over 1,000 miles of a training block of training runs, you also have to logistically think about fueling. Now, what did that look like for you?
So at the beginning, I did this one a little bit different.
Okay.
I wanted to experiment with some stuff, and it's actually worked out nicely.
Nice. Doesn't always happen that way when you experiment with things, by the way.
But I had an understanding of, the positives of what could come from this. So, actually the first half of this whole training block, I actually underfueled in all of my runs.
Yes.
I purposely underfueled in all of my runs, partially to have an understanding of just a better understanding and awareness of how my body feels. And then the back half is when I actually started training my gut. Because you have to train your gut.
Yep.
You have to. And so that's when I actually started training my gut, and training my body to get ready for this. And so, first half was that. And it was nice because I actually, I was able to lose a little bit of body fat, which isn't always the case in these training blocks.
Well, you're looking lean, I can tell.
I did. It's actually been wild. I've lost about 3 to 4% body fat, but I've gained 5 pounds. So I put on 5 pounds of muscle through this training block.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah. And I struggle with that, with the weight, trying to maintain, especially during a block. Right. And that's probably why I should be going to you for some one-on-one nutrition, which I will link in the bio here in the show notes, by the way.
But Yeah, it's nutrition. And also like, it's not like I was underfueling in my runs, but I was fueling plenty outside of my runs. Like I'm not just, underfueling every day. Like I'm still fueling enough for every day, but I'm purposely underfueling in the actual run. And then on the second half, I was actually starting to train my gut because that's where it matters. Yes.
What are you trying to hit carb wise on the run? I mean, I know we're maxing out.
I don't look at carbs. I look at calories. It's a calorie thing. So so one thing with these things that people don't understand is you can't just, and if anybody's watching the BPN Last Man Standing, or I guess when this episode comes out, has watched the BPN Last Man Standing, you'll notice if you've been paying attention to what they've been eating, you'll notice that they're eating, like, you'll see meat on people's plates. You'll see actual food. They're not just eating. Now they are eating plenty of carbs, like they're still doing that stuff, but for the most part, they're just eating food. And the reason for this is because in these multi-day events, you have serious protein degradation where your muscles start to break down at a very high rate, which is why people get rhabdo.
Yep.
And you also get rhabdo from a couple of other things, but that's one of the things that starts to lead to rhabdo is excessive muscle breakdown. You have to prevent that. You have to prevent that excessive muscle breakdown. And so you have to be eating enough protein, enough fat, and enough carbs. So I'm actually going to be eating about 300 grams of protein every day.
Wow. So that's insane. That was always kind of my superpower, my secret superpower. And Jarrett always laughs at me and he's like, how are you going to eat burgers and then you go on a 20-mile run? I'm like, honestly, dude, like I just know when I'm later in a 100-mile, I just want real food. Like I can't think of another gel. I can't think of something else, but I know I need to train my gut to be able to digest while I'm running. And it took almost a year to even get to that point. How long does it take for you, or what do you recommend people start training their gut before a big run? Like, we do altitude training, right? And it's only beneficial the week of, right? Is that similar to gut training?
No. Your gut's a muscle. Your gut is a physical muscle, and so you have to physically build that muscle. Which you're not gonna randomly go from benching 100 pounds to 200 pounds overnight. And it's the same thing with the gut. You're not just gonna go from being able to eat 2,000 calories to 10,000 calories overnight. And so you do have to. I mean, it takes months of training the gut. And it takes years of experience to get it, as dialed as you can get it to where you're actually able to. Like for myself, like I still have to do gut training, but it's not as intensive as it was previously, because now my gut is trained for this. Like it knows what foods, I know what foods work now and what foods don't. I know how to troubleshoot when foods stop working. And this is something that takes years. The actual training the gut, I would say 4 months.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. Cause I mean, it's over a year for me to really, like, once I started to acknowledge the problems that I was having, right? And really focusing in on it. And this is all out of self-research, right? Trying to really dial it in, but it makes so much sense now what you're kind of confirming what I've experienced, right? It's been over a year that I'm finally like feeling like, oh, I know what foods I can eat that are solid and still feel good and go on this run and still put this effort, right? I know when I'm tired of liquid carbs or doing carbs, but I like that. I don't really use any liquid carbs or gels. Yeah.
Liquid carbs are a supplement for me. But I don't use any gels.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is a whole nother episode I could probably go in on, and you and I could nerd out because I've been going down this research, but we won't go into liquid carbs and all that maltodextrin for me on this episode just yet. But I do want to, go into the next stage of something like this, right? Now you did training, you did logistics of what you need to eat, kind of preparing yourself and purchasing a big shopping cart full of, the calories that you need to bring in.
That's just one of the items. That's not even all the food. It's just one item.
Oh my gosh. What does it take to organize a crew and location? And I kind of want to let you tell the story because I think I know a little bit about what happened with this location. But yeah, tell me a little bit about that. What goes into that?
Yeah. So that's like next step. I know that we've been talking about food, but that's like the next step of this is like, okay, where am I going to do this? And like the logistics for the run across Utah, I was like, this is going to be a cakewalk compared to that. Like, there's no way finding a track to run a circle.
It's one location.
Like, dude, I still don't have a track.
Oh
We're 7 days out. I don't have a track still. That's not my fault. I had a track. We've been planning it for months. And then I don't want to badmouth.
Yeah.
I don't want to badmouth because it's not it
who
is
you are.
their fault. I blame the university. Like, they have known about this and then pulled the plug on me 20 days in advance. It's whatever. They have legitimate reasons for it. But yeah, they pulled the plug on me 20 days in advance. And so I went in full scramble mode of, I got to find somewhere to do this. And we have an emergency backup. It is not ideal. It's not what I want. But it is a sanctioned track. So like, this still will happen the way that I've been planning on it happening, as far as like it being around a track and not just like a park. But I mean, it just was basically me calling schools, calling districts, calling universities, trying to get a hold of the right people. And it really has actually come down to connections, people on social media pulling for me,
awesome.
to make this happen. Like, I've called all these places and they've all given me the middle finger, but then someone else who works for them goes there and they're like, oh yeah, let's consider this. And first off, what the hell? Second off, okay, cool. Like, that's how the first place that I got situated, that's how that one worked out, because someone worked for the university and then went to the track coach and went to the athletic director and was like, hey, this guy wants to do this. You guys should connect with him. And then was able to actually get a direct connection that you can't find that phone number online. Like, so, it's been through the people, which has been really nice. And it's just also just been a matter of, like, consistently posting about it, asking for help, and then continuing to call and communicate and do all of this stuff on a regular basis. And now I'm still in that. Now we're back in that phase of trying to figure that out. And then cruise, the same thing. It was a matter of just like asking people, reaching out to people and, trying to get the right group of people. There's also personalities that are involved and you have to take that into consideration. So you can't just get a group. They got to work together. They got to live together in very close, uncomfortable quarters for several weeks.
Dude, this is crazy, because like what you're explaining is like, now your entrepreneurial mindset, your managerial mindset, right, comes in. Like, how can I put together a team that meshes well together to have the end goal be the result that we are looking for, right? So these challenges that you're going through are beyond running. They're just this entrepreneurial kind of mindset that you have. And I think you're handling it amazingly. And this next question is actually because I'm just curious, right? What do you do? Like, how does Mason push through this when he's training, he's exhausted, he's trying to spend time with his family, he's trying to organize a whole event like this, and then on top of that, run a brand, have his clients, take care of everybody that he has. I'm going to be here listing everything that you do for the next hour. But something like this where it falls through that you were expecting just a week before a big event, how do you stay composed and keep moving forward? What do you tell yourself?
I accept that sacrifices have to be made. Something somewhere has to give. There isn't, I think this is something that I've really learned through this training block is like, and this is something I don't think people see. Like, I'm working nonstop.
I know,
I'm
dude.
always working.
Wild.
And people think this is like running is my full-time job. It's like, no, I will have to wake up super early, or I bought a desk that attaches to my treadmill so that I could work while I was running, and I had to be at the gym because I needed to be at the gym so that there's like all of this stuff that like I was working around. And so, there were sacrifices that had to be made, and those sacrifices were, maybe sometimes it was family, sometimes it was friends, sometimes it was like my home life, sometimes it was, whatever. For instance, like I love video games. I know it's just so stupid, but like that is an outlet for me to like relieve stress. And I played video games for the first time yesterday in like 8 weeks, something like that.
Because you got to treat yourself.
But I don't even have time because I work all day Saturday and Sunday. And I'm training all day Saturday. So like there's, it's stupid, it's small, but like that's something that, I use like as an outlet for myself that I haven't been able to utilize. And like it's just this, there again, sacrifices are necessary, and you have to be willing to make sacrifices to do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then the composure, that's the hardest part. The hardest part is the sacrifice. If I wasn't married, if I didn't have dogs, if I didn't own this gym and I was making all the money I needed to from just running, this would be a cakewalk.
Yeah.
The train, like I could dedicate all my time to training and recovery and eating, and it would be glorious. It'd be wonderful. I wouldn't, there's obviously stressors that exist in life, but like compared to, what I've been doing, like it would be so nice and it would be so easy. And, so it's the sacrificing, because I care about all these things. I care about my gym. I love my wife. We've been together for, we're going to celebrate 15 years coming up here. And, since high school, like we're going to be celebrating 15 years together this year. And obviously I love my dogs and I love my friends and I love my family. Like these are all things that I care about. And so when I have to sacrifice one of those things so that I can make this other thing happen, that's where I get really stressed. And it's because I care about it and I don't want to sacrifice it. And so, you really just, you just have to continue. It's the same thing like with running. It's going to suck and it's going to hurt, but you just have to the next step and the next step. And that's what this is it's like, you have to just make the sacrifice.
Yeah.
It might be the wrong one. You never know until you do it. And then you just have to continue forward. You can't look back. You just have to keep going and
make the decision.
That's the hardest part is that it's not, I think maybe before it was a mindset thing. But for me now, it's just actually making the decision to make the sacrifice. So I'll have these chunks of time where I don't make the sacrifice. And then what ends up being sacrificed is me.
Yeah.
And I can't be the sacrifice in this situation. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes that's life, but right now that can't be it. And I got injured because of it and I got sick because of it towards the end of this training block. So you
inspire me every day when I see like because maybe I understand it, right? Because I go through something similar, right? As an entrepreneur, as somebody who's doing their own social media, who's trying to be out here. So when I look at you and I'm like, man, he's killing content, he's killing training, he's killing entrepreneur, he's killing all of this stuff. So you hype me up outside of running because I get to look at you. I'm like, this guy's doing it, man. And, we're not the only ones out there suffering. Some days I have to just say running takes a back burner because I got to be around my kids. I have to be around my kids. And you know what? Like you said, with that, cutting that hour, 2 hours short on the track, sometimes family does take, I mean, they're here supporting us through all this. And that's the most important thing. They're going to be here when we're at our lowest. And, with my kids, I don't want to miss out on these years. I mean, for me, time is flying so fast already. And when I do these birthday posts for my kids, and I go through these old videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt like this was just yesterday. And my daughter's turning 7 now. Like, what is happening? And I don't want to miss out on that. I don't want to be a person who's so entrapped runner, lifestyle of like, I want to hit this distance and this is what it's going to take all day. That grind hustle mindset is great, but you have to be able to acknowledge and, like you said, make the decision to make a sacrifice somewhere. You're going to pay for it somewhere else, obviously, but I'd rather pay for my performance than missing out on a core memory.
So I don't have kids. But that's also why I'm doing this is because my wife and I want to have kids. And so this is kind of, it's not the last hurrah, but like the odds of me doing another 3-week, 2-week run, it'll be 100 miles for speed or, this type of stuff. And that's because I want to have kids and I'm ready to have kids. And, I understand that I can't be doing this kind of stuff when there's kids.
But you've definitely filled the void of, not having kids. You still have enough on your plate that, trust me, when you have the kids here, it's going to be like, well, this wasn't as crazy as I thought it was because I've already piled a million other things on my plate. And I do have a feeling that you're going to have kids and we're still going to see you doing something crazy. So we won't lock you into that just yet.
No, I think it'll be a couple of years. Before I do. I'm going to still do crazy stuff. You better believe it. I'm not.
Yeah, we know that.
I'm going to try and run, maybe I'll try and run 200 miles in 48 hours. Maybe I'll, do that kind of stuff. But like, I'm not going to, yeah, like I can still, Chase Price is a great example. I don't know if you know Chase Price at all.
Yes. And I actually just reached out to him. Yeah. Dude, he's amazing. When he did that 100-mile, I made sure I messaged him because he's so present with his kids, and, watching him lift and work out and do these runs. I had to tell him, I was like, hey, look, man, I see you from afar, and I recognize when things are challenging. And I always try to, send a message. And I just told him, I appreciate what you do, because not only does it fire me up, like not only did he just run 100 miles, he challenging 100-mile pace that was insane with a newborn. And
his sub 16 hours.
Bro, what the heck, man? Talk about people who are built different. It's built different, not physically, but that mental aspect of it. And I had to make sure that I gave him his kudos on that, because again, he's another person who inspires me. When I'm tired, when I know that they have sports, they have school, I got to get up and I got to do this run before they all wake up. So when they open their eyes, they think Dad's been here the whole time. They don't see me. Now they're old enough that they understand that I went on a run before they woke up, and they understand why Dad's walking a little weird, at the amusement park 20 miles before that. And, he's a little tired, but it's okay. And, I want them to see that. Right. And that's where I think you're going to be a successful father. The fact that you're going to show them what it's like to we're setting that baseline so high that to them, my son has seen so many people around him run 100 miles that I don't think he's even impressed by it anymore, which is like crazy because he's so young and oblivious. He's like, oh, just 100 miles. Like, dude, come on now.
Perfect. Tell him about this. So then he's like, oh, just 1,000 miles.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I think it's cool because we're building this next generation of kids who have a baseline that's just like, oh, this is the norm. Let me go push past the norm. And then as they get to that point, they realize, well, this is a lot. They appreciate, but then they feel capable, right? Mm-hmm. And that's all I want. I just want the future. I want our kids. I want people watching to feel like this baseline is the norm. And they, if we can do it, they can do it. Obviously, It takes work. It takes mindset. It takes grind. It does take a different type of mindset to push through these dark moments. So something like this, I feel like you're always learning. So, it's hard to teach you something new, but we're always learning something new. This type of challenge with the track being changed, the logistics, what has it taught you about yourself?
I don't know yet. We'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm still stressed as hell. I'm just extremely stressed right now. It's the best way to put it. And I really just can't even think about it. I'm like trying to deload and decompress. And I just keep I just had some stupid shit happen with, the building owner here thinks that he can just send people through my office to get to the roof. And I'm like, dude, I was in the middle of a client. I have a client in my office and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, get out, I'm like, and then, so I have to stop my session and I had to go deal with, I basically ended up having to end my session early, go and rearrange a bunch of stuff because that's like our storage room back there. There's another door to get in, by the way. But then I had to go rearrange a bunch of stuff so they could bring a piece of equipment through. And it was a whole thing. And it was just this is just how it's been the last couple of weeks. And I'm getting a little frustrated because I'm like, I would really I've planned. I'm going to rant for a second. I have planned and spent so much time getting this run ready, making sure that I had a track and then it was all planned out. And then I knew we were going to be parking the trailers and how we were going to plug things in. And I was going to buy a chest freezer that we were going to then donate to the school that they could use as an ice bath so that I could store food in the chest freezer. And, I have my private chef that's planning all this food stuff. And now we don't know what that plan is. Months and months and months of planning all of this stuff for it to all get completely dismantled 20 days in advance. And I'm just like, it makes it look like I haven't been doing anything. And it frustrates me because I'm like, no, this has been so many months of planning and it's just all falling apart at the same time. And it looks like I haven't been planning at all. But and then it's just now it's one thing after another that just keeps getting thrown on my plate. And I finally, I was supposed to work on Wednesday And today, after like this situation, I was like, you know what? No, I'm done. Tuesday's my last day. I moved my clients to Tuesday, and I've had people asking me to do stuff on Wednesday. And I'm like, nope, I'll see you on May 11th.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. I mean, yeah, at some point you have to, be selfish in that aspect, because if you're not 100%, right? I speak on this like with a lot of people that I come across early in recovery. You have to worry about yourself. You are no good to anybody else if you're not 100% there. You're not good to yourself. Your goals that you have in mind to change your life completely, they will not come to fruition if you are not focused solely on yourself. So I'm glad that you're going to make that decision to take that moment to decompress. I mean, I air quotes decompress, because I already know you're going to probably be in stressful, different kind of stress. But
it's the planning. Like, I need to start packing and like, like I have that, but like I'm going fucking golfing.
Yeah, good.
I'm going golfing. I booked a tee time. I texted some friends. I'm like, if you guys want to come with me. Like, I'm going golfing. I'm turning my phone off. Like, I'm going to have, like, I have some meetings with some sponsors that day, and like, I still have stuff to do, but like, I'm not working. I'm going to start packing on Wednesday. Thursday, I've got a little bit, like instead of it all being packed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm giving myself an extra day to start this stuff, and I'm going to go golfing. And,
these are the miles that you're putting in on the very long race. These little things, man, they're all going to pay off down the road. Maybe not, at the end of this project, but down in your life further on, this hard work that you're putting in,
it all pays off. It's all worth it.
Yeah,
I know I complained for the last 10 minutes, but it's all worth it.
But you get the opportunity to complain, right? We enjoy putting ourselves through these moments of, to make something challenging, because you get to come. It's not the run. It's not the finishing the run. I always say that really gets you at the finish line. It's the months that it took to get to that point. That all kind of leaves you.
That's why you cry at the end. You don't cry because you ran. You don't cry because you ran 100 miles. You cry because you just accomplished something because of months of maybe even years of preparation.
It was all not in vain. Oh my gosh. Here we go, man. Well, I know your time is limited. I don't want to keep you too long, but I have a couple more final questions. Again, we know your story from the past. Why is it with the single parent project? Why is this important to you? And you went back to them again. What's important to you about the single parent project?
Yeah, they help single parents. It's, it's not just single moms, even though single moms are the narrative majority in my life. And they are the majority. It is single parents. Like, I have a client who is a single dad to 3 kids, lost his wife to cancer. And so like, it's single parents. It's not just single moms. And so that's why, but the whole premise of it is, like, I want to give back to my mom, and that's not possible. Anybody if you're a parent and if you have a parent, like, you get it, you can't give back to your parents. Like, it's just not a thing. Yeah. And so this is like my way of giving back, is sacrificing myself to raise money for other parents who didn't have the privileges and luxuries that I was able to have because of family resources, helping us, have a roof over our head, helping us pay for groceries, helping my business partner here actually paid for my football growing up so that I could play sports. Like, there's those types of things. And that's what the single parent project does. And that's why I work with them, because that's like my way of essentially giving back. And also hopefully being that role. I never had a role model growing up other than my coaches, but that's this much of it, Yeah. And so I'm hoping that, maybe one of these kids of one of these parents sees what I'm doing and has a role model to look up to like, I can't escape this pain, this this stress that I'm feeling at 9-10 years old. Like, I can escape this and I can become who I want to be. And so that's like, that's the whole premise of all of this, and why I picked the single parent project.
Yeah, I love the Single Parent Project Foundation. I will link in the show notes, and they can also go to your website and donate directly from there as well, I believe.
Yes, the donation, we're going to have a new donation link. I'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
Something a little bit more streamlined. There's some issues with it last time, so we have something that is a little bit better this go around. Cause I don't want there to be any, like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking the money.
Yeah.
And so the money, like, I make sure that it's going directly to them. Cause like I could do a GoFundMe, but then there's some,
Yeah. I got you.
and so I wanted to find something that was a little bit more streamlined, but that still went directly to them. And it wasn't something that like comes to me and then goes to them. Like, I didn't want any of that, even though it's a great tax write-off. I don't,
I know, right?
but that's not why I'm doing this. So, yeah. So, but that I'll have the link here and I'll make sure to text it to you, today or tomorrow. Text me if I don't text it to you.
Yes. No, I got you. Yeah, definitely.
We'll
when you're out there hitting some golf balls, I'll make sure I bug you for one more thing. I'm just kidding. I'll let you enjoy your golfing. Yeah. You also have some great merch on the site. I just bought my 1,000 miles, shirt, over the weekend. So I'm excited to get that repped out as well. I love the merch that you have on there. You know,
it's ridiculous, but it's great.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. I was like, yeah, I got to have that shirt. Actually, it's too good.
If you want a shirt with my face on it, it's there.
Yeah. Never did I think I would want a shirt with Mason Wright's face on it, but until I saw that 1,000-mile NASCAR-esque, and the mustache, man, the mustache goes hard. So it just ties it all together.
That's why it works.
It really is. So I'm excited to get my shirt in and rep it. One last question. You know, what do you hope that people take away from watching you do something like this?
If I can do it, you can do it. Because I'm not special. I just have to, like, I'm not special. I used to be a fat kid. Like, I lost a bunch of weight, got into running. Like, I am not special. I have to preface that. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Well, Mason won't tell you that he's special, but I will tell you, Mason, that you are special. The things that you do, the things that you've overcome, you know, from a mental side, from your upbringing to what you're doing now, to being a family man, an entrepreneur, these crazy projects that you do, your knowledge in nutrition, how you're helping change lives through that aspect. Cause I've seen and talked to a few people that have been clients of yours and nothing but great things. You are such a good addition to this whole running world. Even though we're not going to put you in that category as a runner, you are still providing so much. And we've always been a fan. I've always been a huge fan of you. I'm excited to watch you go through this. Jarrett, he believes you're crazy. He might be right, but it's okay. He is right. Crazy.
It's fine. Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you so much. Crazy. You do. And you're a little and maybe a little bit more than you give yourself credit 100%. For. But I also want to say shout out to your crew, to your wife, to your family, because, you know, they go through a lot. I think we all understand what they go through, especially to have somebody like an anchor. And I can, you know, empathize with you, with my wife. I mean, you know, they hold us down. And, you know, shout out to them. Shout out to your whole family out there, you know, supporting you through this. I'm grateful for you spending some time with us again. I wish you the best of luck on this run. I can't wait to watch everything, you know, unfold as it goes. And I wish you the best, and may you be healthy and strong this entire 1,000 miles, even though I know we're going to see you in some pain. But good luck out there, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right. I'm going to close this show out for a second. Just hang on for one more minute for me. Well, that's another episode of the Ostrich Running Podcast. We love having Mason on this show. Just truly an inspiration. Like you heard me there at the end. Super grateful for everything that he provides for everything in the running community, what he does for the Single Parent Project, what he's doing for all of us watching, inspiring us, knowing that we can go out and do these hard things. I will be sure to link everything in the show notes. Mason's site. You can see everything, the Single Parent Project, some of his one-on-one coaching. You can find the donation links to support this run. Again, all of you listeners out there week after week sending us messages of inspiration and hope and how much you care about this show. We appreciate it. Until next week, cue that outro music.
Who says you need to fly to reach the top? Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand, join the flock. It's okay to run scared, we enjoy it a lot. I'm an odd kid, like an ostrich. I got a pod, kids, here's a topic. Blaze your own trail, don't be cautious. 2 birds, 1 stone, how I rock it. can't make an omelet without breaking a shell. But they say grew up, now I'm raising hell. Haters gonna hate, yeah, they praying you fail. So put in the work, whether pavement or trail. The grades fell down, but they got to the feet. Run your own race, put this pod on repeat. Shake your tail feather, keep nodding your beaks. Ostrich gang, or you're not my peeps. Who says you need to fly to reach the top?